What's up, Rockstars? It's time for another news update. I got some brand new things to show you. Some very cool upcoming ones that'll be the first time on this channel, so super excited to see some of the new stuff coming out, plus some big updates. There are some updates that are really cool that I'll be talking about when it comes to like leaderboard level stuff, like top tier stuff. So we'll be talking about that here soon, right now. All right, I'm actually going to go in order here. So I'm going to be going on how much has actually funded in these campaigns. So we're going to start with the big ones, get towards the indie ones, the ones you may have not heard of before, or the ones you might be interested in that not everybody's covering. That tends to be something that I enjoy doing. And then, of course, we're going to be ending on some of the stuff when it comes to like what's coming up. So stay tuned for that, I guess. And an update, a big update as well. All right, that means we're starting things out with BattleTech Mercenaries at almost 6 million raised. In fact, they have on the top part here, top 30 highest funded Kickstarter ever. That is massive. That's really huge. And there's definitely more room to grow with 4 days left. They haven't hit their final 2-day uptick. Now, there's about 20,000 backers too, so it'd be cool to pass both the 6 million and the 20,000 backers. I think that's awesome. As far as stretch goals go, you can't expect too much more than what they've already done. I'm going to scroll down to it. I don't like their UI, by the way, at all. Like just the visualness of all this. I don't really care for the textured backgrounds too much. It's not really my thing. But it's a lot of words. It reminds me of somebody who like really wants to put all the information on a PowerPoint, which is cool. It's just there's a lot. That's because BattleTech's been going on for like forever, so they have so much stuff they can do. So you see, these are now the stretch goals. It was kind of hard to tell. They don't really have great headers or anything like that. But if you look, the last one that they got here was the 5.5, and in that you got an audiobook and the ability to buy some patches and stuff like that. They're pretty much adding add-ons, adding to the scope of the project. Although SKUs do cost money, so I can understand that a little bit, though it sucks that 500,000 only gives you like one extra thing or something like that. And honestly, the 6 million, it's kind of the same thing. You're going to get another audiobook, You're going to get a digital short story here, and then, of course, you're going to get another option to buy some tanks, and then at another 500,000, you get another one. This is an audiobook, some more patches, and then another 500,000 gives you the ability to buy some more stuff, and so on and so forth, kind of all the way up to, like, what is this, 8 million? Which they're not going to reach that, I don't think. But if so, they're going to add some more stuff. Either way, it's quite impressive what they have going on here. I know a lot of people are enjoying being able to get their BattleTech stuff, especially new stuff. That's super exciting for them, and I'm happy for them. Definitely not my thing. It's a little too visually on the table. I've seen it played, and it gives me a little bit of anxiety, which is funny because I play Warhammer 40k, so perhaps I'm just being obnoxious, but it's just it is what it is. Either way, that's definitely huge. Following that is the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era by Chip Theory Games. Of course, they are doing huge at 3.3 million, almost 11,000 backers, so definitely doing great there. And they're just continuing to add stuff. If we go over to the stretch goals, you'll see that they are continuing to unlock even more classes and stuff like that, which is cool. A lot of more items and relics. I love this like 20 plus item relic stuff that we're seeing, or items and relics, consumables and enchantments and whatnot. Like just a lot of gameplay stuff. This is really what seals the deal when it comes to its worth and its value. I know for a while there, especially towards the beginning, it was kind of like, how much is this worth with the price, especially with the cost of the chips per se and the stickers on them. But with all this kind of stuff and all the gameplay that a lot of this adds, I really do appreciate the variety, and it shows one of the strengths of getting a Kickstarter where you get everything all at once, so you get that kind of variety when it comes to different enemies and stuff like that you're encountering versus a retail version. So super cool to see all of that. Definitely going to be big. As you can see, they have a lot of coverage, and it's just continuing to focus on gameplay and adding more to it is kind of what they're doing right now. Next up, we have Redgrass's Death Lamp at over 1 million, over 4,600 backers. I'm actually kind of surprised by this. I guess I shouldn't be, because Redgrass does make good quality stuff. I love a lot of their stuff. I love their wet palette. I'm a big fan of that. I love their brushes, actually, too. Their Kolansky brushes are very nice, and they actually hold up to my abuse pretty well, better than many other ones. So big fan of all that. Their holder's okay. I'm okay with their holder. Their lamp, though, right now is sitting at about $223. So it is a little pricey. We're talking more expensive than Elgato stuff, right, for this lamp. Or about perhaps the price of an Elgato. It just depends on what it is you're trying to draw equivalencies to and the apples to oranges comparison there that I just threw out there. When it comes to popular, expensive lighting, they're definitely on the premium end. Now, it is very nice, of course, and it is very versatile, which is great, and a big desk saver for a lot of you guys. So I think it's super awesome. If it, honestly, again, I would probably be singing a different tune if it was a little bit more blue in the daylight, if it was like 5,500, 5,600 even K instead of the 5K that it is, or the 5,000 that it is. It looks interesting. It's just not for me, and it is kind of expensive. But it's doing quite well. Next up is Zombicide White Death at 1.7 million, 12,000, almost 12,500 backers, and still 9 days to go. Right now, the all-in will set you at about $330. So like I said, it'd be about $350, $400, $450, somewhere around there. It's going to be the all-in. They still have a lot of time to add some more add-ons. One of the big add-ons that they've added is actually this right here, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles add-on. This is going to be big for a lot of people. I think it's around $50 that they're asking for it, and you get all of this here. Now, there has been some talk about the immersion breaking because there is like actual like pizza here, so it's like, you know, New York style pizza stuff going on. It reminds me of the third movie. It's whatever. I don't necessarily like the design of a lot of the characters. I feel like they have so much stuff on them, it kind of loses sight of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're not really done in a cartoonish way. They're more done in almost closer to like the movie, like the more recent movie way that like they look, I don't know, their faces just look a lot different, and they're mostly covered up. So the shell is probably the biggest giveaway. Otherwise, they mostly just look like a kind of chunky samurai. And that's like all of them because they're fully decked out in armor. So it's just a little bit of a green mouth and a shell. And that's really your kind of hint that these guys are who they are. But it's still pretty cool. It's all in good fun. The Casey Jones, I like that he still has a hockey stick. But again, like besides that, and like the hair doesn't even really, it seems like more curly than I would even think. But maybe it's whatever. April O'Neil, I would have never guessed. I don't even know what's going on there. We're going to skip by her. Splinter looks awesome. I do like Splinter. And he has a fun distinction of being the only animal that actually looks like an animal, because all the rest are just humans with animal faces on it and like painted fur, whereas he actually like has like clawed feet and stuff like that. Like everybody else just looks like they took a human and put a animal head on it. So really happy to see like an actual like animal here for him. Shredder, he looks pretty cool. I'm actually pretty okay with him. I think the wings could be a little bit more spiky and stuff. I want super Shredder level spikes. I want a lot of spikes, even a normal Shredder. Foot Ninjas, I think, look actually just fine. They look great. And so anyway, they have a whole bunch of this kind of stuff, which is really cool to see. I think it's fun for people who want it. I think it's a neat tie-in. It's still interesting enough. With being $330 right now, and still 9 days to go, it's not quite on par with its old predecessor. It's not going to be kind of as big. If you look at White Death right now, again, it's at about 1.7, about the halfway mark. And if you look at, let's say, like Black Plague, the halfway mark was over 2 million. Green Horde, even more than that. In fact, this is trending toward always goes higher than it should. Because it has a different ramp, or I don't know their algorithm, but it's saying 3.2, and of course even Black Plague got 4, so it's definitely the lowest of the three, which is kind of a not as fun to end on, right? You hope each one's bigger and better than the other one, like Green Horde was with Black Plague, but either way, it's still doing quite well. I'm sure they're still quite happy with it. It's going to do great at retail. These Teenage Mutant Turtles is going to be crazy. Of course, they have to throw in a Kickstarter exclusive stuff in here because they need that kind of FOMO in there. And it's also interesting they don't show any like off of MSRP or anything like that. So I don't know. I think normally they would have put that at least at 45, but instead it's 50 with KSC. So the other expansions, if you want to see kind of where that 330 comes from, and they've been getting more stuff. This Death Note guy, kind of cool. I dig the little hands and stuff there. There's some neat stuff. The Tengu looks pretty cool too. And then the lady, or the Jade Empress, I think is really cool too. I love the big bow. That'd be fun to paint. But if we go down here, you can see, so you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you have the Eternal Empire, you have a Crossfire pack, you have a Warlords of the Rising Sun, you have a Warlords of the Middle Kingdom, you have the Berserker Walkers, and then you have 2 dice sets. They're due for at least one more boxed expansion, so I would assume at least a $45-$50 jump, and we'll see kind of what goes on from there after that, I guess. I'll keep you guys posted. Speaking of, 3,000 backers. Almost 500,000 raised. This came out of nowhere, and maybe it shouldn't have. Maybe I should have paid more attention. It's a hidden movement, killer or survivor thing going on here, with an amazing kind of like breaking wall thing here that's actually usable. You keep cards up there, you keep tokens up there to track stuff. It's a dice tower as well. It's super duper cool. What they've been doing a lot is adding like different gameplay and stuff like that, like different versions, like a semi co-op and stuff like that. So a lot of different options there. They have all these expansions that you can like go to new places or fight new things, and the all-in is around 280-ish. When it comes to everything, but that's like the deluxe neoprene mats, all this stuff. You see all this stuff, right? All the 3D tokens that you're able to build down stuff. So quite a bit of stuff for sure. It definitely looks pretty interesting. And obviously a lot of people think the same way. So 34 days to go. This is a hugely long campaign. Whether that'll hurt it or help it, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll just kind of stagnate for a little bit. Maybe it'll just keep exploding. We will find out. Next up is HEXplore, Fall of the Ancients at 380,000, 2,700 plus backers. I've gotten through this a lot. As you can see, the headers alone are massive. This game is huge. If you go to add-ons, you can see all the different past stuff you can do and all the new stuff and all the cool stuff and the neoprene mat. Again, to me, the grid, like really, it's kind of unfortunate because the art looks really cool. I love the color, and then the grid like overlay is like just on top of that. But that's literally in the name HEXplore, right? And then of course they have all of this stuff as well, all these volumes. I mean, just a ton of stuff. So this is definitely not the first campaign in the series. So if you're looking to get into it, follow a guide. There's a lot involved there. Mindbug Beyond, 324,000, 4,322 backers. Still 5 days to go. This one, again, shipping's cheap. It's just a deck of cards. Looks like a lot of fun. I heard the card quality isn't quite the best, so you might want to incorporate sleeves in the price when you look at that. But other than that, it looks like great fun. I've covered it a few times, so we're going to move on past that. Wild Gardens, this is not something I would back, but I'm having it here because I also want to show you, hey, BackerKit still has games available that are reaching over 100,000, actually fairly regularly. This one still has 65 hours to go, so it's kind of last minute here. You essentially forge around and make like recipes and stuff like that. Again, not something I would typically play, but it's cool that they're finding success on BackerKit, and I think that's neat. Next up, we have Thorgal at 112,000. They're doing daily unlocks, so I want to show you those new updates here. We have them kind of right here, but they actually spread them out here. Very cool. So we started right there. On day 2, they had a whole another scenario. And again, this looks beautiful. It looks so freaking pretty. And then day 5, so this was like kind of a delay there. And then day 5, you had another pet ally, which looks awesome. And then you have a first player marker, which is mostly pointless, but kind of fun. So you get that. And then on day 6, another additional scenario. This one's a labyrinth. And again, it just looks gorgeous. This is a good looking game, I can tell you that much. That's super cool to see. And I'm glad that it's still going. 11 days. So a lot more stretch goals still to come, I'm sure. Excited to see what happens there. This is something I want to talk about. This is kind of interesting. This is the Grimdark Compendium Villainy Ink. This is a pre-campaign to the campaign, and I had people kind of contact me and ask what my thoughts are on this. So first of all, I think the website, not exactly the prettiest. It's all like left aligned here and stuff like that. I think they could have worked on it a bit more when it comes to that. But I think overall, I'm okay with this. I'm going to talk about what this is first, and then we'll talk about, okay, well, what about this pre-campaign campaign? So essentially, this is doing something that, what is the... you essentially get these oils that you can, paint on, and then you can get a spirit and put on a Q-tip and just wipe it away. And it's a very easy way to do recessed work. A lot of people do that with like Gunpla or Goompla or the Gundam wing, building stuff with the Gundams. But I've done it with terrain. It's actually very, very fun to do. Also, it's just it gets kind of crafty. It gets a Q-tip, and you can decide how much you let go, and you can do drain marks and all sorts of stuff. It's really just doing that. So all these kind of inks that you can you can do that with. In fact, I believe he shows it. Yeah, like right down here. So that's covered in like some kind of spirit. I forget the exact name of it, that you can essentially wipe down this with, and it kind of removes it in a very, very pleasing way. So you can make it to where it essentially isn't there at all, or it's recessed in there. And that's what a lot of people do. But you can do little drain marks like that, all sorts of fun stuff. So it's nothing new. It's just his own custom mixes. He does say that he makes it stick a little bit harder to where it actually sticks on, which helps a little bit for blending. Normally what you do is you control how much you have on your Q-tip when you're doing that to get the same effect, really. So I guess it seems like it might handle a little bit better there. Anyway, he's got his own kind of custom colors when it comes to like a hints of green and all this stuff for very grim dark looking stuff. Looks great, looks super premium. And of course he makes some fancy stuff, and you're looking at some of this, you're thinking, dang. But then you look at stuff like this and you think, dang. So like it's kind of both. Now, what do I feel about a pre-campaign? I think it's a great idea. I think it's, as long as people are very clear on what they do. Essentially, the problem is he could get money, it could fail to fund there, and then supposedly these guys might be out of luck. Now, he's saying he'll just scale with what he makes, of course. But when Antitrust Odyssey was coming up, and we knew it was coming up, Into the Unknown did their Nymph series, where they just did some resin minis and delivered it out. And that got them a lot of growing pains, and a lot of experience when it comes to making something overseas and doing mass distribution, all that kind of stuff. And that then not only helped fund, but then also helped get some experience for the big thing, which they were able to do. The same kind of thing happened with the Celestial. So they had these resin minis, and these resin minis that they've been selling have been able to allow them to fund more art, all the Hips miniatures. I just showed a whole bunch of Hips miniatures, all that. The reason it's already done is because of that. So it's kind of been funding itself and doing that whole thing. And honestly, I think this should be the way things are. You have a more at-risk thing that's more small scale, that people know, hey, I'm helping fund for the grand vision kind of thing. And I think that is great. It's why you see stuff like Kingdom Death Monster and then 1.5, and 1.5 explodes, because they did the 1 first, right? You do that kind of stuff, and that really helps ease you in there much more than, hey, I'm brand new, I just got $2 million because I had this crazy success. I've never delivered anything more than a postcard from Hawaii before, and now suddenly I need to do all these logistic things and all that stuff. So I think it's really good. I think it's a great idea, and I think more companies should do that. Now, should they do it on their own website, stuff like that? It's whatever. You know, when you have a YouTube channel, I think it has like 50,000 subscribers, you can get this kind of following actually fairly easy. Even I could do something like this, probably not to this scale, but you get to the point where if you put in enough time to actually create a following, right, then that following will follow you. And if you try to do something, they will support that. And that's, you've kind of paid your dividends and paid your dues over the years of, stuff that you've created for those people and stuff like that. So honestly, I think it's great. He obviously has a platform. He's funding it. He says he's talking about scaling things, which I think more people should do too. It doesn't have to always be this Chinese thing that is like mass produced. And if I can't make a minimum order, then I may as well not make my game at all. I've covered this before with some other stuff where people are doing COcast, or people are doing 3D printing, or you do standees, or you can build up to that, but you can still make your game and still be successful and still make money. In fact, perhaps even more money profit-wise, like actually make more money by scaling appropriately. Did you only sell 700 copies? You can actually fund a campaign that way. Sure, no problem. You just can't do some mass market Chinese thing, that's fine. I don't know why that is like the success and where everybody goes and they think if I can't do that, I shouldn't even make board games. But you can actually do this just fine without that. So, hopefully we see some updates and mentality here when it comes to building up to the big thing instead of here's the big thing and then that's all I care about, and about scaling to what you actually have. Going back all the way to BattleTech, while I think the 500,000 marker upgrades are kind of silly, the idea of adding add-ons, while not necessarily fun, 19,900, congrats on that, I guess. But not only is that not necessarily kind of fun, but it kind of makes sense too. When it comes to like adding SKUs and adding complexity and adding all that logistics, when it comes to making that and designing it and balancing it and shipping it to the right people and all that stuff, it costs. And so you don't want to do that on something that doesn't fund as much. You only want to offer that on something that funds to make that worthwhile. And so that really is kind of tied into that money. It really is. So anyway, I think that's a great idea. And congrats to him for that. Almost 500 people, $22,920. That's incredible. Good for him. Next up is Beast Shattered Isles. This is by Studio Midhall. You guys love Beast. I love minis. Guess what? They're combining the two. That's right. Beast is getting minis plus more stuff. You're going to want to click the follow thing. If you get 10,000 followers, they're going to have 5 miniatures included. There'll be 3 unique models, so one of them will have 2 copies there, or 2 of them will have 2 copies there. And yeah, it's going to be really cool, I think. And a huge success with these minis. That's going to be huge. The miniature add-ons is going to add a lot of money there and cost. So it's not all profit. That's revenue, not profit. Those are very different. I'm sure they'll be fine though. Beast is very popular and people have enjoyed the gameplay of it. The art's gorgeous. I know that much. So excited to see what that has. They have a whole bunch of new stuff. I'm not going to go over it all, but you can kind of read it here. They're just adding more and more stuff, which is super cool. Next up, we have Firefly, the game 10th Anniversary Collector's Edition. 11,000 of you have followed this. Sadly, Gale Force 9, GF9 is not one of them. It seems they're kind of MIA, which cautions me a bit to really recommend this. Supposedly it has a whole bunch of stuff in here and they're talking about holographic cards and like this is the definitive version to get. And so that's super cool to see, but at least set your expectations. Don't expect a lot from them if they haven't really shown up yet. You go through these comments and there's just not a lot. You know, you keep loading and you're looking for them and they're just not here. People are saying, hey, I'm waiting for, you know, GF9 to come answer some of these questions. Nope, apparently they don't, they aren't looking too much into this. So that's kind of unfortunate to kind of throw that up there and then kind of call it good. If you're going to have a preview page, you need to be able to support it, in my opinion. Next up, Grimrack.Paint Modular Paint Station. I don't know the .paint. I don't know if I understand that. But this is by Grim Rabbit Games. They typically do the Gatefall stuff, which they'll show right down here. That's what they're doing right now. This looks super cool. And if I hadn't just invested in putting my paints on my walls, which this can do, this is like the answer to do. Very, very cool. Essentially, you have these trays that you can pull out and then actually kind of pull to the side and see your minis that way. So it stores them very efficiently and it's very modular in what you can do and the different shelves you can have and, you know, and even a cup holder and stuff like that. They kind of go through it here and they also have it on a video that's quite good as well. It looks super cool. And I mean, that's not bad. 160 paints for $60. I paid more than that to do my wall mounting stuff. So, and this comes with like the metal rackets and stuff like that too. So very, very good. Like this is a great price. In fact, it'll look better than this. The burn you'll see is because they used a little bit of a cheaper laser printer. They'll use a nicer one, of course. And you can get breakdowns on what it holds. It doesn't have the like slots. Instead, it's literally just a rack. So you just fit however much you can fit in there, right? So it just depends on the size of your shapes. You can mix and match, do all stuff like that. Though the width of the shelves matter. $100 will give you 280 paints, or you can, you know, do stuff like sprue holders and big, you know, terrain stuff and, you know, all sorts of stuff, which is super cool. 350, that's the big one, but that's the whole shebang too. 800 paints. You get all the side stuff. You can put minis there. You can put all sorts of stuff there. Guys, this is a super cool system, and if I would not be upset to have this on my desk. Like that's awesome. It looks really cool. So I'll be covering this. I wish them the best of luck. I think it looks awesome. I would love to have something like this. I think that's great. That's really, really a good idea, I think, and it's different than the staggered tier thing that so many people do. So anyway, yeah, super cool there. And Terrorscape Odyssey, they have an update where they do all sorts of stuff. On Star Wars Day, they will be closing the Pledge Manager, and that's because a few days later, they will be launching the new campaign. And they're going to be talking about that a little bit, which is super cool. They're also wrapping up Cycles 4 and 5. They're going to be even bigger and badder than everything, and they're kind of working on the like story now and the last bit of playtesting and stuff. The Fate Singer, they've shown this before, but they are saying this will actually be a standalone expansion that'll work for both. That'll have content for both games, the ATO and the Sins of Heracles. Speaking of which, they have money now. So for $129, you'll get the 12 Sins of Heracles Summer Core game box, which encompasses 3 regions and 3 campaigns. That's 150 plus hours of unique gameplay, and is a kind of a cheaper entry point to that. Now, that is not all of the seasons, right? That's just summer. So there you go. If you're trying to figure out like price and all that, well, let's keep going. The Odysseus Pledge is the original Interspace Odyssey core game box for $2.99. And that includes some of the expansions as well, but not some of the other ones. Either way, it's about 300 plus hours of unique gameplay. It's really, really big, of course. And $2.99 is actually, they're marking out $3.99. It's expensive to make, of course. It's a very big game. Next up, you have the Mortal Pledge. That includes all 5 cycles plus the 12 Sins of Heracles Summer Core game, so that core gameplay thing. That's $647. It's 70 plus pounds, 700 plus hours of gameplay. It is a massive amount. It's not including any stretch goals too. So that's really, really cool to see. And of course, you can get the other stuff for $2.19 as well. So definitely expensive, definitely a lot. This is kind of cool. They're talking about all the new stuff, new everything, new Titans, new Primordials, new crafting mechanics, new Insane Clown Posse 3.0. Just a whole bunch of new stuff there. And then they talk about the characters. Essentially, it's going like Attack on Titan. You actually can transform into a Titan, and that's kind of what you do. It also means that you're playing named characters, so you get abilities and stuff like that. It also means if you die, it's bad. However, you get to get like Gia Seeds or Gia Seeds, then they can be reborn, but you lost that Titan form that you got. To get a Titan form, you have to eat the cores. It's some really nasty stuff. But you can even travel in Titan form if you want. It's more dangerous because obviously you're a giant Titan, or slower in human form and be kind of incognito. I think there's a lot of cool gameplay stuff involved here. I'm not going to go into all the detail. You can go ahead and click in the description below. There's a link to everything I just covered, but it's a lot of cool stuff. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. I try to keep you guys up to date on what's going on, what's coming up, what you need to be looking at, maybe some cautionary stuff, some cool achievements, some things are doing, some last minute stuff. Hope you guys liked the video. I enjoy making these for you guys. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon with, of course, another news video, some more unboxings, some more reviews. I'm working on a whole bunch of stuff, some details videos, working on speaking for you guys as consumers. All of that's coming up. So stay tuned for that, guys. Take care. Bye, guys.